And we are live on the Side Quest Live with today's very special episode, Nicki's Cousins Friends PlayStation Showcase 2021. We're on it. We are hot. Hey, JJ, how's it going?
Oh, man, doing great.
That's awesome. Good to see you. And I'm Dali, obviously. Maybe we'll have somebody else join us. I don't know.
It's always a fly by the seat of our pants operation over here, so who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Either way, we'll have a good time. We're definitely gonna have a good time as I'm clicking too many buttons on the screen there because there's a lot to talk about from news and what we've been playing and all that kind of fun stuff. I want to first of all, how was your weekend?
Great. I saw Shang-Chi, and that was it. That was the bulk of my weekend.
What do you think?
I fucking loved it. It's good shit.
It's so good.
It's
so good.
I think I said it on Twitter, and I'm gonna say it here too. I think the thing that I liked so much about Shang-Chi is that, like, as a person that is so deep into comic books and reading comic books, to have it be so far removed from what the Masters of Kung Fu kind of stuff is in the comics was cool. I had no idea. Like, none of these characters line up to what their comic book counterpart really is.
Sure.
So, even straight down to the 10 rings themselves are just so far removed from what they are in the comics that it was just like, I don't know, this could be anything at this point. My brain isn't trying to fill in gaps with because every comic book movie you're trying to well, in the comics this happened, so they're probably going to figure out a way to make that happen or whatever.
Right.
Not this time. Just it's free reign. There's no Fu Manchu in this series, so that's.
I love that they. First of all, I love the direction that they went to. They undid all the chaos of Iron Fist with this, and then the way they tied in the Iron Man 3 stuff was.
Yeah, I'm glad that
brilliant.
It didn't rely on the greater MCU at all right now.
Yeah,
but it had just enough of an influence of it, with the Trevor and all that stuff, that it was neat. I love that stuff.
So good.
And yeah. And they set up the mid-credits scene was very, very good.
Yes, it was. Sets up so much.
Yeah, and because again, the 10 rings are so different in this than they are in the comics, but they set enough groundwork to just make them similar enough, because in the comics, the 10 rings were found from a crashed alien spacecraft, like Green Lantern style, and they were actual rings that he turned them into rings, and they were basically the propulsion system for the spacecraft that he was able to sort of harness into. And so they laid just enough groundwork for it to sort of be vaguely related to that, but also it could be anything, because even they didn't know in the movie that where the 10 rings came from. They just planted a couple of seeds and then teased some stuff in the mid credits, and that's it. So,
I think the only qualm I had about the film was that there's a lot of flashbacks. A lot.
Yeah. Well, that's the curse of an origin film always. Especially for a character like this, who in terms of pop culture kind of has no presence.
Right.
Shang-Chi was really just a megastar in the 70s of comics, because that's when the Kung Fu craze was.
You're right.
And after that, he was just sort of another character, pop into the Defenders or whatever, but Secret Defenders and shit like that. But for the most part, it's always just been that nobody would if you were to say Shang-Chi 5 years ago, only people that were actively reading comics still would know who the hell you're talking about.
Sure.
More people would know who Iron Fist was over Shang-Chi, because he's never had a cartoon. He's never had had appearances in other people's cartoons or movies or whatever. So it needed all of that backstory, which is always the curse of these kinds. They didn't do that with SpiderMan this time, because we know what Spider-Man's deal is. It's the same thing. When everyone always makes the joke, there isn't a single piece of Batman multimedia that you can see that won't show you the Waynes getting gunned down in Crime Alley. It's just always, even the Joker movie showed
Right.
the Waynes getting gunned down in Crime Alley. It's just like, I'm sick of it. I know we're going to have to see it in the Robert Pattinson movie again. And I'm just like, please, free me.
We get it. We get it.
There is no Uncle Ben. Like,
Yes.
we know that Uncle Ben is dead, but there's never been like there's never even really been mentioned. But like, we understand they sort of made Tony Stark that Uncle Ben character in a lot of ways.
They did. They kind of did. Yeah.
But it's cool to just have Spider-Man exist, and then you just like, he's there. Let's go for it. Now we're here. Let's do it. Yeah. Okay, that's the Marvel.
That's the show. The Marvel Minute. We won't talk about a certain Archer. Maybe we'll say that for next time.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that trailer. That was good.
I always say the Matt Fraction Hawkeye comic book series is one of my favorite comic book series of all time.
So good.
And to see so much of that pop up, right down to the tracksuit Russians and Lucky the Pizza Dog, was just like, all right, I'm all in. And it takes place during Christmas. One of my absolute favorite times to see something like that's one of my favorite parts of the Miles Morales game is that it takes place during Christmas. So it has this really fun aesthetic. So,
there hasn't been an MCU movie during Christmas time.
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3.
Oh, that's right.
Christmas. Yeah. That's right. It's been so long. Gosh.
Yeah.
I know. Like Shazam was during Christmas.
Yeah, and they have the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special coming out next year or the year after. So.
Oh, it's good. All of Marvel's slate. They have like there's 6 movies.
Yeah.
Six movies that haven't been like fully announced. They're just like placeholder dates.
Yeah, this is just like it's like unannounced Marvel project, like in the middle of like 2023 or whatever. You're like,
it's awesome.
Could be anything. It could be anything at this point. It's all fair game. I still want a Man Thing movie or series or something. Give me Man Thing.
Man Thing. I think we'll get Young Avengers, but that may end up being a series rather than.
We've already introduced so many of the Young Avengers at this point.
Yep.
So it'll be cool. Yeah, because Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision both introduced characters that would become Young Avengers. So.
Well, let's talk
about video games.
Let's talk about video games. Let's actually talk about. It's good that we're talking about Marvel comics and Marvel video games stuff, because there was a whole lot of freaking news when it came to Marvel comics and video games. I'll play the trailers here in a moment, but so PlayStation had their event as we didn't know what to expect. We heard a lot. We heard it was going to be crazy. We heard it was going to be simple. We weren't quite 100% sure what to expect.
It was better than what we were joking about in the Discord, but not as good as what like the internet was hoping for. But
But it was it was better. And let me play the first trailer here. So I won't go in any specific order. I'll just kind of share the different things that we came across, but was not expecting this. Spider-Man Part 2. That threw me. I thought, well, Miles literally came out last year. I thought and Insomniac just put out Ratchet and Clank. I thought, okay, what's their next singular project they're working on? But no, they're working on several, and Spider-Man 2, which is like essentially it's like a Spider-Man 3 in a weird way. But I'm
glad that it's going to be both Spider-Men that you see here in the trailer, where they have both Miles and Peter, because I don't know if I could go back to a game that doesn't have Miles' powers, because his power set is so good in his game. Like, going away from it and not being able to use the electricity and the stealth powers would make it really difficult for me to go back to. But to pop back and forth between the two, I wonder if it's going to be like a half and half thing, or it's going to be like a GTA thing where you're going to be able to like zap between at will. Or
I'd love. I'd love either way. I think both the characters have some, they have unique skill sets, and
it's gonna be. I hate managing multiple skill trees at once.
Yeah, that's the only thing, right? It's gonna be like Atreus. So it's gonna be like like Kratos and Atreus. You're gonna have you're gonna be taking control of Spider-Man, but upgrading Miles' skill tree as well.
So the VO definitely sounds like Craven in the trailer.
Oh yeah, so I'll let this play again. Craven, and then you have Venom.
And then you introduce Venom, but they also kind of imply that Craven is after Venom in the trailer with some of the dialogue, because it has Craven sort of talking about how disappointed he was in Spider-Man as his rival. And then you have Venom doing his it's like yes we are at the end, like in response to Craven's VO. So I wonder if that's like, is Venom going to be an anti-hero in this, or like a vigilante type, like, you know, Lethal Protector kind of thing, where maybe you are going to be playing as Venom, Miles, and Peter, because it is Harry.
Yeah,
I mean it's been established that it's Harry, so it may play into you know, that kind of thing where it's like he's not necessarily a good guy, but he's also not necessarily a bad guy, just like how Venom has sort of become over years.
Yep.
But yeah, it definitely makes it sound like Craven is after Venom in that trailer if you listen to the VO that's going on. So
it's awesome.
And it has and the logo is the Venom logo. So
yeah, yep, it is. Yep. And I mean, it's right on with the Venom movie. They're doing a lot of that cross promotion right now, no doubt.
Yeah. Well, except for this fact that this game comes out 2 years after that Venom movie. So.
Yeah, so there's all the talk about how they're gonna try to figure out ways to. There's like a rumor where they're trying to almost split the Spidey verses, right, for the movies, so that Tom Holland kind of goes to Marvel, and then Andrew Garfield. I mean, these are all rumors.
Yeah, there's any number of it's game on at this point. You can do whatever the hell you want at this point. So Loki really just set it up for anything to happen at any time.
Which is and it's funny because Loki did it better in a way than all the other teases we've had through Marvel for the multiverse. Yeah. And the DC stuff did it better than the DC multiverse stuff.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how, like, with DC, because that's what the Flash movie is, and I'll be interested to see how the hell they play that out. So yeah.
All right.
But the next trailer are you loading up the other one?
Next trailer, yeah.
There was. This is one of those. Yeah, well, it was like it's a shock of an announcement, but like I was able to figure it out almost immediately. Like this scene right here is like,
this scene,
with this scene right here, it's like, oh, this is fucking Wolverine. There's no way this isn't Wolverine. And then once you see that, it's like, oh, well, then it's definitely not Wolverine, or it's definitely is Wolverine. It can't be anything else. Wolverine. Yeah. So I don't know, man.
Cool.
It's so fucking cool. I don't like. I don't think of Wolverine as like a Spider-Man-ish kind of character, like in terms of what that gameplay is like. So I'll be interested to see what how creative they get with being Wolverine, because that Origins game was really fucking good.
Yeah, surprisingly good.
Good. And like that feels a lot like there's no video game. There is no character more suited for a video game than Wolverine.
Sure. Like it's pure action with Wolverine.
Yeah, it's pure action. It's violent. He's like Batman, where he like knows how to fight.
Yep.
And he is like the grandfather of regenerative health, like what all video games are now. He was doing in the comics before any of this. So it's like his regenerative health is just built into the character. So I can't wait. I can't wait to see like what the rogues gallery looks like for this. Like who they get involved. Like, are there going to be other X-Men in it, or is it going to be just a Wolverine by himself thing? I can't wait. I can't wait for more information on this game. I'm really curious. It's like what the inspiration for it will be. Like what like comic stuff will inspire it. Like is it going to be a period piece? Because that's the cool thing about Wolverine is that you can kind of plop it down anywhere you want.
Right.
And there's no hints. There's no hints in that thing. It's just a bar with an old song playing on the jukebox. Like it could easily be the 70s, or it could be 2025. I don't know.
Was something written in the on like one of the license plates or piece of paper in the background that looked like some strange font and stuff? I'm sure people will be deducing that. But I would love. like there's the possibilities for this to be, yeah, it'll still be an action game. Yeah, it's going to revolve around mutant abilities and all that kind of stuff. But there's the possibility for this to be very different from what Spider-Man is. Spider-Man is very much this mission-based gameplay. You know, Wolverine could very much be one dude, Logan's journey. You know, and he's kind of go to try to solve something in his path, which I think is maybe likely the way to go. Because Spider-Man's a superhero, and he's a New York hero, and he does all the heroic stuff. Wolverine is I don't want to call him a loner, but he's very much this lone.
Oh dude. Absolutely. There was there's that Wolverine podcast, which with Richard, with Richard Armitage is the.
There were a couple seasons of that, right?
A couple of seasons of that. And like the first one is kind of like this perfect, like what the video game could be, where Wolverine is just kind of there and like dealing with what the Weapon X project has been doing. Like, because it was like Wendigo based. So it was him sort of like solving this greater Weapon X project mystery, which is perfect for Wolverine and perfect for a video game. Yeah. Like, so... I can't wait. I can't wait to see who's in it, what's going on. Like, Sabretooth's in it. Like, there's no way around that.
I'm curious what other X-Men are going to be in it, if any. What that does.
It's interesting. It's like it's clearly game on now for the Marvel stuff, because it seems like Disney has resigned themselves to licensing these characters out to whoever. Because you have at this PlayStation event alone, they had Spider-Man, Wolverine, Guardians of the Galaxy. They just recently announced the Midnight Suns game.
Yep.
The Avengers game is for
Spider-Man finally coming for that supposedly this year. Yeah.
Yeah. So for all intents and purposes, the Avengers game seems to be doing fine, I guess. And there's always been rumors.
New RPG for mobile, which is doing pretty well.
Yeah. So it seems like. Things are fine with the video game universe. I'm interested to see, because it just seems like we're finally at that stage where we're going to start seeing more and more different. Like the Midnight Suns game, brilliant idea to do that, and also cool to set it in that sort of the supernatural realm of the Marvel universe. The Guardians game, I know a lot of people make fun of it, and because they've shown way too much of it so far. But that game looks fun. That game looks like it's cool.
I'll play. Yeah.
It features a really cool villainous entity in it, and it has a lot of cool like Cosmo was a big feature of the new trailer and everything. I hope we get, like, with everything happening now. I want a Fantastic Four game. I would love to have a new Hulk game. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, Bring it.
I think we're ready. I think we're totally ready for this plethora of games to come in, and not just that cheap Disney, because Disney was just auctioning off their IP to, like, remember Sega did like an Iron Man game that was poorly received.
You had that the Cap game, which was like surprisingly okay, but still like it was still like the Wolverine game was kind of like in terms of the Marvel stuff was like, and that was Raven, which they're a dead company at this point because they're just doing the multiplayer for Call of Duty these days. Yeah. But yeah, there's so much stuff. I would love to see. Like there needs to be like a first person shooter Marvel game in some way, shape, or form. There's like a Nick Fury and the Howling Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos game would be fucking cool as hell. A World War II or Vietnam era, like that shit would be cool. Like
the origins
it would just be
Shield, like Agent Carter, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, like I liked the Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy thing that they did.
Same here.
That was fun. Wasn't as good as the Batman stuff, but I felt like that suited, like there's some characters, like a Daredevil game in that style would be fucking cool.
Totally.
But because it's just Batman. I mean, Moon Knight, even Moon Knight. Put Moon Knight in a point and click adventure. There we go. Now we're
Oh
talking.
God! Oh wow! Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for people to like get their first look at Moon Knight over the next
can't
couple
wait.
years here. Oh man,
Moon Knight's one of the best characters that is like everyone's sleeping on it now. So I hope that show with Oscar Isaacs in the lead, like it's like everyone's gonna fall in love with Moon. Mark Spector.
So a lot of Marvel games. Marvel's owned by Disney. Another Disney project, a remake that was announced.
Yeah, baby.
You've got 8 million hours. What would you say? You have like 1 billion hours into it or something crazy like that?
Yeah, I've played through it like 3 times, like, and I've played through it on the original Xbox. I played through it like on the PC. I played through it on my phone. It's just.
I think I own it on a couple different devices, but I've never. I don't think I've gotten past the boot up, just because not that it's daunting or anything. It's just like, all right, let's go, and then it just falls out by the wayside almost.
It's daunting. I mean, it's a big game, man. Okay. It's a big game, and like, you know, it is a game where you are making like decisions. It has one of the coolest plot twists of like video game lore of all time, which is like, so I can't wait.
So this is not
like, yeah.
No, I was gonna say, this is not a remaster. This is a remake. New engine, new. You know, they're gonna be tweaking the plot. They're gonna be doing all kinds of stuff.
I'm assuming they're gonna tweak the plot to sort of line up more, because there's a writer's Bible for Marvel now. Not Marvel. Well, for Marvel technically, but for
Disney,
for Lucas, because everything has to tie into one another. And I'm sure there's parts of Knights of the Old Republic that break the canon, because like right now they have that the High Republic stuff going on with the comics and books and everything. Which, okay, so like Knights of the Old Republic takes place, what was it, like 1,000 years before A New Hope, or the Phantom Menace. And High Republic takes place at like the beginning of all of the Jedi stuff.
Sure.
So I'm sure there's some stuff where it's like, okay, we need to fix some of the continuity stuff so it ties in better without like breaking the canon that we've very, very, very importantly been trying to hammer down. So
I mean,
without calling it like a Star Wars Legends game or something, like, so I have to assume
they still allow some of that weird stuff to go through, right? Disney said, okay, this is no longer canon, but you can still have it. You can still have fun with it.
As long as Disney, like, you can bring in stuff that they've uncanonized. Like, but there is a very, Thrawn is obviously back in there. They've done enough things to tease, like, Masters of Terras Kasi has made its reference in there and everything. Like, there's enough things to, like, if it's a good idea, they're willing to bring it in. Like,
sure,
the Clone Emperor, not a good idea, but they still made it the crux of the finale of their movie trilogy. I have to assume that's what the plan is with it, to change the plot so it lines up with the canon that they have established right now.
I'm okay with it. I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to it.
It gives me an excuse to play it again without feeling like, man, I just fucking played this on my iPad.
They're doing with it what Square did with Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
And I think that could be that type of remake. If Aspyr does their job right, that could be the kind of remake that excels really well. So
I think there needs to be more of that kind of remake going on, because as much as I like things like there was nothing broken about it. I think you should only remake things if you're going to do it different or you're going to fix it. And so far it seems like Final Fantasy VII is doing it different. But like other things, like things that are like, there hasn't been very many like straight up remakes in video games.
Here, speaking of Square Enix, we got Fourspoken. We finally got information on Fourspoken coming spring 2022. From my standpoint, So this is Luminous, which is part of Square. The visual quality is great, but the spells that they're utilizing in this game are fucking. What you'll see it later on are phenomenal. Like the
That's
visualization. That's a good cat. The visualizations of these spells are terrific. They're absolutely terrific. So I'm really excited to. This game wasn't on my radar. Project Athia, when they first kind of showed it off a couple years back, or last year during the PlayStation thing, whatever it was, I'm like, all right, whatever. And then we saw little hints here and there, and then they said, okay, it's no longer called Project Athia. I think it was at the Game Awards. They said now it's called Fourspoken, and then it kind of went dark after that. But and now here we go. It's the classic tale of a modern times person gets sucked into a fantasy world. I think that's very common for Square Enix.
Listen, there's a word for it, Dali. You need to get into me and Quest's world of anime and manga, and she's been isekai'd.
That's right, isekai. Yep.
Yeah. So
isekai. But it looks great.
Yeah.
God, oh my God, is it just me? Is spring 2022 anything from like end of January, basically from end of January to April, going to be obnoxious with games?
I think we need to temper our expectations for some of these release dates. They're spring 2022 right now until they realize that everything's coming out in spring of 2022. We need to chill back out.
Yep.
Yeah.
I am surprised.
I'm always a sucker for an isekai game, and I like the idea of this one a lot. So,
same here. And it's funny because the gauntlets have that little 10 rings vibe to them. It's really funny.
Yeah, it has. I'm a sucker for cool locomotion, and this shit has some cool looking locomotion. And she doesn't change her clothes. She's still in her 90s grunge Seattle scene.
But with a cape, she gets a cape at some point.
Yeah, she gets.
I think this looks really cool. I'm super excited for this, and we didn't get Final Fantasy 16 like I thought we would, but I actually, I think the only reason I said Final Fantasy 16 is because I had forgotten about this game, and so they showed it off.
Was the other game a Square Enix game? I can't remember that they showed off. What's the
Project Eve? No, that's a Korean company. That was a Korean company.
Okay, yeah.
That guy actually, they were talking about that dude, the director, the creative director on that game, bought his entire staff PlayStation 5s in celebration of that game showing up on.
Love it.
I'm not buying you guys PS5s. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Mine's sitting right there. I'm fine.
Yeah. It's good.
And I finally get a game for it tomorrow.
That's right. You're getting it. Yeah, exactly. Deathloop, which is getting phenomenally awesome reviews. We got Ghostwire Tokyo. Ghostwire Tokyo is coming out in spring 2022. We got info on Alan Wake. They showed that the remastered. Let's see.
Project Eve, like we talked about.
Eve.
I like the look of I think I posted it in the Discord. I love the look. I love a real gross monster design.
Yeah.
And it has some of that real sort of like Lovecraftian, like just slimy ooze. That's why the xenomorphs are so long lasting. Yes. They're just disgusting. They're slimy and gross and disgusting. Yeah.
We got let me show this one right here. I'm just gonna pop it up onto the screen. Here, Cars.
Yeah,
I like Cars.
Cars, baby.
Like Cars. Gran Turismo 7. We finally got also coming in spring of 2022.
That one might actually, because it's so different from everything else that will be coming out at around that time. Because Forza Horizon is going to be coming out next month, so it's not like unless they plan on having Forza Motorsport 8 come out in spring of next year.
I think this is actually great timing for the game because you're going to get Forza, and it's going to whet people's appetite for the GT game. It very much so. I think people are going to be much more excited about this game because of Forza's launch, which I think is a weird thing to say.
Do you want to know what the stupidest reason why I'm excited for this particular Forza game?
Do tell.
The DualSense controller.
Oh yeah.
The triggers for them on racing games have been so ace, and like the way you can feel the brake pads and like the skipping of your tires and shit through the impulse triggers for a game that is like this, where it's about the delicate precision of like, if you want to be competitive, you have to understand how to manipulate your car. You know, you have to understand what's the best downforce for this particular racetrack and everything. And I feel like those impulse triggers might actually help, like even fine tune some things more. Like, oh man, you can actually feel my brakes aren't really catching that well on turn 5 of this track or something. Like,
well, what's exciting is that they're bringing the campaign mode back. They're bringing all kinds of customization because the campaign mode's been missing.
Yeah, as beautiful as Sport was, it was definitely the competitive game that nobody really like. The competitive scene was so isolated. Like, it was like they were the ones controlling it, and like nobody. It wasn't really open for just like somebody to like work their way up the thing like a lot of esports is. So, yeah, I'm excited to just have a classic Gran Turismo experience again.
Totally. And they're kind of, another thing is they're kind of replacing the typical garage with what they're calling a cafe. You kind of saw that in those little things that popped up there. So that gives you a whole bunch of stuff. And they're calling it a cafe because it's more than just flipping through cars. You're also going to be kind of collecting cars and looking at their history and their heritage and the impact of certain like sets of vehicles and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah, they were setting that kind of stuff up in Sport a little because they really were focusing on the history of the history of cars in general. It's not like, because remember that was the coolest part when Forza Motorsport 5 came out, and they had the Forza Vista stuff where you could just like go into the garage. You had Jeremy Clarkson talking about like the history of these cars, and you can look at each individual thing. That was cool, and I feel like I love that shit, and I feel like the way the studio thinks about cars, they clearly really, really love cars too much. So I'd be interested to see what their take on like the historical data of cars is.
Yep. And then I'm gonna play this one. I'll kind of end it with this here. Finally, God of War Ragnarok. We got ourselves the God of War trailer and no release date, just showcasing what GAO is going to look like on PS5. But it's coming to PS4 as well, so don't fret, everybody. You got one more year or so of games coming to both consoles. But you get what you see is a more, what I thought was interesting. So Atreus, obviously a little bit older. This takes place well after the events of the previous one. You get a more true to legend Thor. So he's not like the Greek god he's not like the he's not the Marvel version. Yeah, he's not the Marvel. The actual.
Yeah, where it's like it makes it look like a Scandinavian farmer, like his body is built in for strength, not like physique, but like actual physical strength. So it's what if Chris Hemsworth's Endgame Thor was also very strong.
There you go. And red-haired apparently too.
Yeah, because that's what Thor is. That was Thor is in like old like mythology and stuff. Just a big, dumb, strong guy. So
that's cool. And it looks great. And there's what was the new animation for getting into a boat?
Oh yeah, there it is, right there. Oh,
there it is.
Nope, that's how you know it's a piece of shit, because they didn't bother making a new animation for getting in the boat.
That's it. Game's crap.
Yeah, the game's garbage. This is why Xbox is better, says Twitter users.
But no release date. Oh, you got a little pet octopus. That's kind of cool. No release date for the game. It actually looks really polished. We're seeing more gameplay with this, I think, than we've seen in Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah. The animations for this look so smooth.
Oh my gosh, they so
like
do.
I noticed that watching this, just like, man, these are some good ass animations. Like, there's Thor, baby.
There he is.
Mjolnir right there.
And also like they're what was the oh, look at that, that's badass. Oh, so cool. And I was gonna say something I totally forgot. It was very important, but yeah, whatever. It'll come to me right when I log off the video there. But
yeah, that's
here it is. It's the end of the Norse kind of portion
of
the
Norse
Kratos'
saga.
story.
I'm 2 games. That's fine. I don't know where you take God of War after it, but I'm all in for it. They really made the Norse stuff work out. Like you really wouldn't think about it playing the old God of Wars, but now that you've played it, you're like, oh man, they really did sort of figure that out, huh?
There you go. You got characters, and it's like I love that they're again the difference between this and the previous God of War. The previous God of War games were like, let's just do one game at a time and make them action games and kind of loosely tie the stories and have Kratos just be sort of a chauvinistic, all murdering type of dude. But now there's an actual story that links these two halves together. They were always headed towards this finale, including all 9 realms and everything involved. So there was always going to get to there, and they laid that groundwork in the original. So I'm excited. Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think of other news. You had Uncharted coming to PC. Cool.
Well, it was Uncharted. Was it Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy? Was those the 2?
Yeah. So they're the PS4 games are coming to PC. So that's cool.
I just, as a person that just recently played through Uncharted 4 again, like I'll be interested to see what the PC version looks like. That game's even on the PS4. That game's real good looking.
It is totally. Yeah, there we go. A lot of PlayStation stuff. There were a couple quick little bites that I wanted to mention. One was that the Switch is now cheaper in Europe.
Oh yeah.
So Nintendo has dropped the price of the Switch to, I believe it was, let's see, £259.99, which roughly, I don't know what that number equates to, $3 something dollars. I don't know, somewhere.
Yeah.
Whatever. My math is not good right now. But knowing Nintendo basically said they're dropping this price because of you got the OLED coming out. You have to make enough of a difference for people to purchase a different color with controllers and a nicer screen. Yeah. Well, I think they also feel that there is competition coming in now from Xbox and from PlayStation, and they want to get as many Switches into the hands of people out there. And so letting those, you have the Switch Lite, you have this sort of slightly cheaper OG Switch, and then then you have the OLED for the folks that are coming in for, that are upgrading for the first time or doing doing things like that. So I think it sounds about right. I'm curious. I'm actually curious to see. We talked a little bit about this before. When they actually end up sunsetting the original Switch and the OLED becomes the actual model. I think that's where they're headed anyways. And I would not be surprised if it's at some point early in next year. Yeah. Whenever they announce the actual next Switch. But
I have to assume, and I have to assume the Lite is going to be replaced with something at some point. Like something
potentially
more,
an even cheaper version, or
I'd say something more compact, maybe something a little more streamlined, something maybe even a little less. As much as I love the sort of fanciful, cartoony look of the Switch Lite with the bright colors and everything, I feel like something that looks like a phone with controllers built into it or something isn't too far.
Like a Razer Kishi,
like isn't too far removed from just like it's black on black with a glass screen that's just designed to just throw it in your pocket. Or I would like to see like them try to figure out that like those flip note like those like foldable Switch. Fuck yeah, give me that.
Give me that. It's make it like the DS, man. Make it like the DS. It's fun to speculate.
I want the Switch SP. I want to be able to fold my Switch and throw it in my pocket and not need a case. I just want to throw it in my. I wear cargo shorts. Let me throw my Switch
I love the. Don't tell Tom Johnson because he's
Tom Johnson can pound sand.
No, I have. I still, from time to time, will turn on my Game Boy Micro because I love the Game Boy Advance Micro. I love that device.
That device is one of the most. Everyone made fun of it when it came out, but I don't think anyone ever experienced it because that is one of the coolest fucking games.
It really is
small. It's small
perfect
but
size.
Incredibly usable. Like
yes,
you're actually kind of blown away by how like it's not uncomfortable. It's absolutely perfect, and the Game Boy Advance has such a deep library. And what's cool about the Game Boy Advance still to this day is that the market hasn't worked itself to like against you. Like if you wanted to get let's see. If you wanted to get a copy of this fucking game right now, Super Smash Brothers Melee, you're going to be spending more than a brand new PS5 game. Like even that, or even something stupid like Super Mario Strikers. That's like an $80 game now, or Twin Snakes. Twin Snakes inexplicably is like going for a shit ton of money, and like Game Boy Advance games, man.
Get up. I would freaking love, and there are rumors, all right, that Nintendo is going to be releasing. I wouldn't be surprised if we get the info drop in here in the next few days of a new Nintendo Direct. But bringing Game Boy games to the online service.
Speaking of Game Boy Advance stuff, I will say that Hyperkin has recently released a console for Game Boy games. It's just like $80 and it's a little tiny cube and it plays Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games over HDMI, and it's actually a really cool little system. It's basically not that far removed from just as isolated Game Boy player on a GameCube. But unfortunately, if you want a GameCube Game Boy player, it's like almost $200 at this point. If you So, but it's a there you go.
Yep. And there are other little notes here and there. I will mention this one. There was that supposed leak that took place today or so, or over the weekend the Nvidia GeForce Now info, which revealed just like a bajillion games. And so essentially this was a very accessible leak that you could just get from. So GeForce Now, that was sort of their streaming service. And you don't have. There's no real reason. It's not like hacking. You're literally just punching in a couple things in their network, and you're able to open up a database of. I think somebody said there was like 18,000 games on there, and started parsing things down and found like BioShock 2022 and the Uncharted games which were just announced and other games. And this list apparently is from like 6-7 months ago, half a year ago. So. The database hadn't been updated since then. So it leads one to believe, there were some things where things were listed for PC and Steam, like they actually had certain databases entries in there for that, and some that just were kind of blank. There's some really interesting ones in there, stuff like Gears of War 6 coming to PC, and
some of that stuff is unfun because, like, of course, there's fucking Gears of War 6. Like, and of course, you're gonna just like we're just gonna reserve that spot now. That way, we can have it ready to go once they like a BioShock one's a little more interesting because like that's basically a dead franchise at this point. Like, there hasn't been but
there have been rumors. There are rumors
that's
that
the thing.
It's like, working on it. Yeah,
we know that there's a new BioShock, but like there's been absolutely zero hints, like commercially, of a new BioShock. Like, there's no way you're just gonna let that franchise just two games and that's it, or 3 games and that's it, basically. Like,
it sold really well. Really well on Switch.
The remasters have all done really well. Like, it makes sense. Like, I don't know if I need more BioShock as much as I love them. They haven't really stood.
Bring it.
They haven't narratively. They haven't stood the test of time particularly well.
True. But there were a ton of games on there. Like Shin Megami Tensei listed for Steam, I think it was.
Because as of right now, there's only a Switch version of Shin Megami Tensei 5. And
there was, I think they said, and one of the other ones, there was like New Super Mario Brothers Wii was thrown on there. And so it leads me to believe a couple of things. One is that that the GeForce Now actually what has been used over the pandemic for like streaming games to each other, so stuff is going to be residual in that database, whether they're projects or not, and that's why some of them don't have names and some of them do. Some of the stuff was just may have just been streamed to press, and the database wasn't locked down well enough, and some stuff may have been folks just saying, I wonder if I can get Mario on Wii to work on this thing. Let's give it a shot, and it ended up being on there. So
and it wouldn't be too far removed from thinking that maybe it's just like a database, like a scrobbling kind of thing. Because like if you build a Raspberry Pi and you install the games on it, a lot of times there's not a lot of data in the ROM files, but you can make it scan the files and it hits a database and it starts compiling like all of these like the artwork and all the information about the game and everything that isn't necessarily in the ROM file necessarily. And they may have been testing at one point some sort of like GOG Galaxy kind of thing where it's just like, well, you're going to be able to like sync. And because they're doing like all this like cloud stuff, like, well, what if we made like the cloud stuff available for stuff that you own or already, or it's like, it's synced up with Dolphin emulators, so it's grabbing that shit or whatever. Like, it could be any number of things where it just needs information in the database for it to grab. So like a Plex server for video games, like Plex was already doing that kind of stuff. Plex is already playing with like old arcade games and stuff where you can stream old arcade games. And it's like, well, it's like, treating it like a Plex server for old ROMs and stuff or whatever. It's like, it could be any number of things that they've been playing on that maybe that aren't necessarily for market use, but is like internally, it's just them playing with some coding to see if they can create a database or whatever. It could be any million different things, but like once you see New Super Mario Brothers Wii on there, you should kind of get the hint that maybe it's not what you are thinking it's supposed it is. So.
All right. Yeah, don't get your hopes up too high for some of this stuff like a Chrono Cross remake or anything like that. It just again, these are things that people throw in there, and it's like having a they have those websites where you can upload a PowerPoint file to use as a presentation, and somebody else can just randomly come upon your link somewhere and be like, oh crap, check out this presentation if it's not secured enough. And this could literally have been somebody in Square Enix saying, what if we did a Chrono Cross remake? Here's a quick here's Chrono Cross, the original Chrono Cross game, with remake on it, and that's it. Just so they can get the conversation started. So.
If you will remember, that's sort of how Apogee and id got their starts by creating like basically Super Mario Brothers from scratch and sharing it with Nintendo, and Nintendo going, yeah, that's cool. No, thank you, but that's cool. And it could be any it could just be like, here is a small build of what we think the next Chrono Trigger could be, and there it is. Like,
I agree. Well, we'll see what happens. If anything pans out.
Also, the other big news was if you update Steam, you can change the LED.
Oh yeah. That was. You can't do it on the Xbox. But you can somehow
do it on the Xbox. It's a strange update because you can plug it in and it recognizes immediately that you're using an Elite 2 controller and that you can change the intensity and color of the LED in the Xbox logo. You plug in a Series X controller and there's none of that. It just lets you adjust rumble functionality. So clearly,
this thing is already worthless. My green one.
Yeah. So inexplicably, they included RGB lighting in the Elite 2 controller and then just forgot about it. I don't know. There's nothing hotter on the market right now than RGB lighting, and they couldn't. And they included it in this controller, and then they're just like, whatever. That's so stupid.
Well, I mean, you're using that controller to play games with.
I am.
Let's transition into games that we are playing, and I'm gonna let you go first, JJ. What are some games that you are playing?
Let's see. I recently got Cyberpunk for PC.
Okay.
I never finished it on the PlayStation because it was a broken mess, and I just got tired of dealing with it, and so I stopped playing it. And then I was able to get it for a really, really good price on PC, so I bought that, downloaded it, and I'm impressed with how well my laptop can run that game. And I'm caught up to where I was in Cyberpunk on the PlayStation at this point.
Nice. That's
So,
my goal. To get back into Cyberpunk, and I'm playing it on PS5. It's just I'm out of space on my PS5 to download any updates, and I've only played like 2 games. So
it's a fun game. It's a fun game. I definitely cheated to get to where I was because I didn't want to put too much stress in it. So I downloaded a trainer just to turn on infinite health, so I could just kind of make my way to where I was. And now it's like, okay, now I'm where I was, or if not better. So here we are.
Cool.
I can't talk about Skatebird. That's what I've been playing, but I can't talk about it. Can't talk about it. The embargo, it comes out the 16th. Embargo's up the 15th. But just know that.
So just the embargo's on Wednesday. Okay.
Wednesday, yes. Yeah. So just know, if nothing else, I will post something about it, but whether it be on Twitter or have you tweet something on my behalf of a yes or no, and I'll talk about it more on the thing. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. There's definitely opinions, and I think it'll be fun to talk about because I think I'm the only person that is interested in that game. But I have it open over here. Let's see if I can share the screen for.
Are you allowed to share stuff on
this? Is Skatebird. This is Skatebird. This is the next game. This is I'm done with Skatebird. I'm not allowed to say anything about my opinions of Skatebird.
Just that is something you're working.
I am playing it, and you're gonna get my opinions on a person that is wholly addicted to Tony Hawk at all hours of the day.
Okay.
I have. You can trust my opinion on it because I have it both on the Xbox Series X and the Switch. So that's how you know I'm a skateboarding. That's how you know you can trust my skateboarding opinion. So there's that. But let's see. Okay, I got that. I'm gonna hit share. Share screen. Which one do I want? Window. No, I don't want that. Do I want? Where the fuck's my game? Did the game go away? Give me a second here. Something's broken.
Something's missing.
Something's gone. Let's see. Share screen. Window. There it is.
I can add yours. Want me to add it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let it show up there. It's kind of blank still. Must stop my screen sharing. Something's not showing up there. Hold on, let me remove it real quick and I'll add it back. Let me try adding it back in there. It's got like a blank screen. Can you hear me, JJ? Uh-oh. Might be losing JJ. His network might be slow. JJ, we've lost you. JJ, come back. Yeah, some difficulties with JJ right now. Let me message him in the private chat. Oh, yep, there he goes. He's gone. Yeah, network shoot. Mouse shoot on his network cable there. He'll get back in, I'm sure. But yeah, so I don't know what else he's going to be playing. He's kind of surprising me there. I think it's always a good sign. Probably going to be restarting his PC here. I have been playing a game. I wanted to talk to JJ. I wanted him to be a part of this, but I'll at least start. I'll talk about another game first. Warioware. I'm playing that new Warioware jam, and it's Wario. I forget the name of it. It's on Switch. I'm looking for the box. It's over in the corner over there. It's a little bit different than previous WarioWare games in that this very much has more of a more emphasis on the story mode than the previous WarioWare games have had. And by that I mean they're still kind of quick games and stuff, but you're playing the game as different characters and you're kind of building up a team of characters, and they all have different skill sets. So, for instance, Wario can kind of float. Uses jetpack, float across the screen, and then fly into objects. So you use that to like knock things over, to beat up and to fly into enemies, to turn switches on and things like that. So you may have a micro game pop up that's basically you having to knock a bell off of a tower. So you've got to get up there real fast or go around real fast and then through a sort of a maze like and knock that bell off. And that's basically it. It could be as simple as that, or it could be where you have to hit 2 or 3 things in the time span. And then another character has the ability to kind of shoot at enemies in a different. He can't really move around by himself. I think it was 18 Volt is the name of the character. He's kind of a bigger lug, and so you aim your gun with the the different analog sticks, and then you shoot, and you can either hurt enemies, kill enemies, or you can attach onto rings and kind of shoot and move your way across a level that way. That's kind of interesting. Oh, here we got JJ's back. There you are.
Boy,
I was
broke my system.
Wow. I was vamping with talking about WarioWare while you were Let me finish with WarioWare, then we'll get back to you. All right.
Yeah. I'm curious because I almost picked up WarioWare today. So start over for me. Okay.
No. So what I was saying was it's much more of a story-based game this time around. There's sort of an overworld where you're kind of collecting characters on your WarioWare team. Yeah. And the different if you play the demo, you can play the demo for a good chunk of time, and I'm actually I'll get to the demo here in a second, but you're going through the overworld and you're kind of facing off. You're doing a bunch of micro games and you face off against a boss, and the boss can have like 2 or 3 different quick little phase shifts, and the different characters have different capabilities. I mentioned Wario can sort of float around and bash into stuff, and then 18 Volt can shoot at things. He doesn't really move, but he can shoot at things, and he can latch onto rings and kind of move around a level that way. And then different characters one character can jump, do jumble jumps, and do a bunch of stuff. And every character has their own move set. And as the micro games take place, you'll see the new character pop up on the right side of the screen, and then it goes in the micro game to let you know that you see the character pop up, let you know what move set to kind of have ready in your mind. And so then you face off against a boss at the end of each zone, and then there's like an overworld map. It keeps opening up more and more and more. And really the gist of it is Wario was working on a video game, and he's in a cafe or somewhere, and as he's completed his game, he invites all his friends over, and all of a sudden they all get sucked into the game because it's been infested with the virus. Typical. It's been taken over by by some nefarious folks. And so it's not as I think it's not as gross yet. And I've only had maybe an hour and a half or so in it. These games don't take a long time. It's kind of the joy of WarioWare games, that no matter how many micro games they have in there, you can sit and get a playthrough going, and it's really quick. But there's not a lot of innovation in this game compared to, I think, WarioWare. Was it Twist It, where you actually use some of the motion controls. There were other WarioWare games.
Everyone will tell you that Twisted is the best WarioWare game, and they're absolutely right.
They're absolutely right. And there's a WarioWare game where people actually made their own micro games. This is very basic from that standpoint, in that it's just moving, platform style moving characters around the screen. It's not touch based. It's not motion. There's no motion controls because they wanted this to work on the Switch Lite. Maybe it's. I don't think there's touch based stuff because you can play this docked. So, so a lot of that sort of fun aspect of WarioWare is taken out, and that's kind of a bummer to me because you could do a lot with the Joy-Con in this type of game. WarioWare and Super Mario and the Mario Party series, I think, lend really well to the gimmicks of the Wii, of the Nintendo consoles. Of the Nintendo consoles, and so they're short gimmicks, and they're literally are meant to be sort of technical demos in short bursts for hardware. And I think that idea is great, but WarioWare, this new one, doesn't quite have that. It's a little bit more of a traditional style. Platformer with some mini games in there, but it's fun, and this is where I recommend the people try play the demo, because if you're not really into some more of a traditional style thing, just play the demo and get to the demo. I think you can play the demo an unlimited amount of times, and you kind of get your fill on that, and that might be enough WarioWare for you. So I like it. It's typical Wario humor, which is always great, but it makes me really kind of yearn for more of the classic, completely zany, bonkers off the wall WarioWare stuff. So it's not there. So,
but we can always hope that maybe they bring some Game Boy games to the Switch at some point.
Let's hope. All right, back to you. Are you going to try to share this thing? And
we could try one more time. It's a recent I guess indie game called Webbed.
Ooh.
And I'm just going to share. I just want to share the mechanics because I think the mechanics are really cute.
Is it WEBBED like a web?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is. I guess trigger warning because it's got bugs in it, spiders and stuff. But it's very cute. I'm gonna hit share on this.
Okay. Uh-oh. Might be losing you again. Doesn't seem to like getting shared there, JJ. I'm gonna boot it. I'm gonna kick that from the studio.
This game, huh?
Wait, let me remove. Let's try it. Let's try this.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
It's coming out blank for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck. It absolutely fucking hates this game.
Try sharing again. Try sharing one more time.
I'm gonna hit share one more time. I was able to share a VR game.
Yeah.
And this what now it's what? Okay. Share screen, window, webbed, share.
Oh, it's working this time. There we go. All right.
Okay, now I need to get controls back up and going on this thing because it hates.
Okay. Oh, he froze. He froze on us again. JJ, it's not working. There.
Maybe I should. I just not fucking play this thing because it.
I guess it doesn't want you to be on there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like the second.
Tell us about it.
Okay. So it's a 2D side-scrolling game, and it is you play a spider, one of those cute little spiders. See if you can find a trailer for it or something.
Okay.
At least.
Is it okay? What's the name of the developer? S-Bug Games.
That sounds right to me.
Okay. I think I found it. Okay, I'm gonna share. Continue.
Yeah, S-Bug Games. So yeah, you're a little spider, and a bird kidnaps your boyfriend's spider.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so you see your boyfriend is the blue spider, and it's got a little dance. You could dance with him and stuff, but yeah, bird comes in, steals him because right here, it loves blue. It loves blue stuff, so it doesn't seem like it tried to kill your boyfriend. It just kidnapped your boyfriend because it likes blue sparkly things. And basically now you're just on a journey to save your boyfriend with the help of all these other bugs in this universe. And it's SpiderMan.
It looks like SpiderMan. I was going to say it has like SpiderMan mechanics.
So if you use they recommend a controller because it really plays well that way. Right bumper is like swinging. It's like your web swinging, like you're doing that, and your left and your trigger is like web building. So you can see like
skateboard there.
Yeah, and you can see like he's doing. You've got lasers and stuff. It is unclear what's going on, but you can see right here like you're like this. The part where I'm at, I'm early in the game, and I'm forging a mech ant with the help of my ant friends, so I can fight the bird. And so you're like forging it. So it's like you can use your webs to like I got this cog stuck and I didn't know how to get it out. So what I had to do was brace down this little platform that was wobbly and drag it down using all the webs and just keep having it go down and down and down until I was able to make a ramp out of it and get this little cog out of there. And you can see like you if you can't get somewhere, you build a web and you can crawl on it and walk on it. Cool. And it's for something so simple. The mechanics are so satisfying. It really is like a Spider-Man game. But like instead of being a Spider-Man, you are just a spider using Spider-Man's same abilities. And so far I am absolutely fascinated with it.
This looks
It's
so neat.
It's so neat. It's adorable, especially in a universe like, what was the big Kill It With Fire was a recent sort of
Oh,
big,
right. Yep.
where you're just like killing these spiders and stuff. And like I said, it's spiders, so it's creepy. But they're the cute kind of spiders. They're those fuzzy little spiders that always look adorable. Like, I hate spiders. I'm genuinely arachnophobic. Like, they actually legitimately like give me panic attacks. Like, it's not like a ew kind of thing. It is like I can't like. If I see one in my room, I have to leave and I can't go back for the rest of
Oh boy.
Yeah. It's like either somebody has to go kill it for me, but this one's like, it's just so cute, and it's very much a classic 2D platformer, but with cool spider webbing mechanics. I'm loving it. I can't wait to play more of it. Like, I really wish I could have showed you sort of how good the mechanics were on this, but like I said, I have no idea why this game hates this fucking it has like it even has streaming. Yeah, just this game.
It must just have StreamYard. StreamYard must be all messed up.
Yeah, like I said, I streamed fucking ArcSmith over here, and it was perfectly fine. But webbed, no way, Jose. But yeah, webbed.
So it's Humble, and that's on it's on PC only, right? So far.
Yeah, it's on Steam. I got it on Steam. It's like $10. So it's not even that much, and it's cute. It's one of those games that has been in my wish list, well, much like the previously mentioned Skatebird, that I've just been kind of like looking at it. It's like, this will come out, and Steam will tell me when it's out, and I'll be very excited for it because it's cute and cheap, and I was right. It was cute, it was cheap, and it's very fun. Like, awesome. If you just want to waste some time just playing as a cute little spider doing SpiderMan stuff, then you can't go wrong with this one. It feels good too. Like, and it's kind of like a twin stick shooter. Like, you can actually aim the webbing, and there's a little on-screen reticle that you can aim around and stuff. Yeah, it's well thought out all the way through. Like, the mechanics seem to be like they did it. They knew what would make a spider game fun. It's not like it's Deadly Creatures or something. That, sure. That Wii game. It's like, no, we wanted to make a fun game. He's got lasers, and we're gonna it's got mechs and shit. Yeah, let's go for it. There's skateboarding. Yeah, let's throw it all in there.
Can't talk about a skateboarding bird, but did talk about.
I talk about a skateboarding. I can talk about a skateboarding spider till I blew him in the face.
That's cool. Webbed.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. PAX. I've still been recovering from PAX.
Yeah. Well, I can talk about the game that I've been playing that I'm putting my review together. I'm going to turn off the audio on this sucker. So, as many have known, we gave away codes last week to Hindsight 2020 by Triple I Games. They're cool developer. It's made up of a bunch of former folks that have worked on BioWare and 2K. It's just folks that are all from around the industry, so they're industry vets. And they've sort of come together to create a little bit of a passion project. So they started with in the Hindsight 2020 is the name of this passion project, and we hit the play button on this trailer here. I think it's almost 2 minutes. So there is, and I brought it up a little bit last week.
Yeah, you can only talk about the first 30 minutes last week.
So I'll tell you the whole story this time. So it's heavily built on this idea of everything you do in the game is divided up between ruthless and merciful choices. So you can either kill enemies or you can just stun them. And there's only a slight difference. Well, there's two differences. The slight difference is that it's a little more difficult to kill them to defeat them if they're ruthless. They just take longer. So you just got to be only slightly better. Or you can just use a sword and go as merciful. Or you can use a sword and be ruthless, just murder everybody, and then you're out of it. But then, the way you complete the quests, for instance, someone will say, go in and rescue my wife. She's turned into this, there's basically this weird disease that's turning people evil. Go in and rescue my wife, and because I love her, and she's been in there for a long time, and I fear that she's turning into one of the Rakasha, I think is what they're called. Okay, you go in there, and then you can actually choose to try to save her, or just kill her because she's already turned into the beast, for instance. I'm just kind of throwing out hypotheticals here. And then you come out, and then the husband or whoever it was that gives you the quest treats you very differently. They may, let me hit the replay button here. They may treat you, they may be upset and angry at you, and you may have to kind of face consequences later on, or they might just be upset and run away, and then that's it. Or it might affect the different, other quests that are available, or even how the town layout is set up. So that's sort of like the crux of this mercy and ruthless system they have there. There's sort of I don't know I think it's called the experience system or whatever. I don't know what it is, but it's meant to really revolve. And the game's only 4 to 6 hours long, so it's meant for you to go back in and play it. Now, I mentioned there were 2 parts to this system. The second one is that every interaction with NPCs is annoying, and the writing is not good. I hate to say it this way. The writing is just, I cannot connect to anybody that gives me a mission request. The character designs look kind of kit bashed, like they look like from different things. It's got a GameCube era look to it, which isn't bad.
I don't like this game's aesthetic. I don't like the weird angular. Like everything looks vaguely like it's a toy, and it doesn't work. Everything looks like it. Yeah, like you said, everything looks like a weird sort of like artistic GameCube game. Like it's like we don't have the money to make something realistic, so we've created our own aesthetic, and it sucks. I'm sorry. It's like,
I mean, there are aspects of this, like the main character look kind of cool, Assassin's Creed-ish, but then you get to all the townspeople, and they're just so weird looking. Like they don't, and it's very heavy subject matter because there's a lot of deep moral choices that that characters will ask you to make. It's like, I want my, do you rescue the kids or do you kill them because they've already turned into zombies? But then the NPCs look horrible.
What's this game rated? Like it's like ESRB rating.
I want to say it's probably T for teen. I don't know. It's definitely not M, but
it's one of those things where I said it at the beginning when we were talking about Project Eve a little bit, but like I need the people that, like, if I'm fighting like monsters and stuff, they either need to be like Dragon Quest style adorable, or I need them to be Eldritch Nightmares. Like I don't think it can ever sort of play in between. And this one feels like it's trying to just create like Warhammer statues in a game space, and it doesn't really, or figurines. So I'm the is that boss fight really just the Ganon fight where it shows him walking?
They are. There's a lot, and there's a lot of the boss fights are that. They're a very repetitive style of boss fight where you're knocking stuff back to them, or you stun them and then you run around to the other side to hit them. To actually take away HP.
So it is. Design. So they're Zelda boss fights without any of the sort of like aesthetic or charm behind it.
And it's all like these. There's just rooms of enemies. Like it's very empty. We talked about games being very empty in previous episodes, like the Pokemon Arceus or the Empty Forest. You go into a dungeon, and it's all you see is these sort of like weird, like those spikes. They're just kind of these hazards that are laid out everywhere. You don't really know why they're there. I mean, it's just like, okay, the local bakery has spike hazards everywhere for some reason all of a sudden, and they look completely out of place. And so it's very empty. And then you'll get into a room, and all of a sudden it'll just populate with a bunch of enemies that just kind of materialize out of nowhere until you defeat them, and then they disappear.
Nobody loves murder closets in these.
It's exactly what it is. It's a murder closet. It's what's weird is that, like, if you go
so that explains the spikes, because typically they wouldn't be there, but all of a sudden when there's a bunch of enemies in the room, now all of a sudden you have more hazards in there. They just had them there beforehand for whatever reason.
Exactly. And there's a lot of issues with the UI. I'm going to pause this real quick because I hopefully you can see it. Let me see if I can kind of. Here we go. Yeah. I'm gonna.
I think you said last time it was a combo system kind of thing, where it's like you don't get that mega attack without doing a 3-hit combo or something. Was that what it was?
So yes, so you'll see. Can you see my cursor on the screen here?
Yes.
Okay, so here is the UI that you get. Tell me if you understand it.
PlayStation triangle, and I mean,
that's it.
Yeah, in any game, I'm assuming it's mana, health, and stamina. But
no, it's so you're partly right. This blue one is your morale.
Okay.
And the morale, essentially, if you're playing on merciful mode, you go into any battle, like a battle room, a death room. What did you call it? The murder closet.
You go
into a murder closet, and you select if you want to use the sword or the staff. Again, the sword, you kill people. That's your whole intent. Or the staff, you spare them. If you select the staff and you go into murder closet, I shit you not that the dialogue that pops up is some brutish-looking murderer who's going to kill you or wants to kill you will say words, and I'm paraphrasing here, but they're almost exactly like this. Wow, it looks like you've chosen the path of mercy. You are abiding by our town's set of rules. We thank you for that. Let us fight. And then you just go into a fight. And it's that poorly written, poorly connected. And so that's what this blue is, stamina, morality. If the morality goes down, you don't die. You just kind of restart that area again. If you choose,
it's Pokemon, you white it out.
Exactly. If you choose the ruthless mode, then your health can go down a lot more, right? So if your health goes down, then you die. Then you have to start that whole dungeon all over again. And so that's sort of kind of the main difference in these two. And then you have this little thing in here which looks like or it looks like a fireball, a Hadouken. When you get those combos, those 6 combos, if you hit like 6 times in a row, which is very auto combo, you can get through these battles by just tapping the attack button and not aiming for anybody. Just tap, and it'll automatically aim for them.
This almost sounds like a game that was designed for like the Xbox 360 to like.
Yeah. And so this will fill up, and when this fills up, this only fills up if you get those. You get those combos.
You're powering up your Kamehameha.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can unleash somewhat special moves, and there's like a very slight progression system to unlock new moves or unlock new abilities, but they're not great abilities. I'll let you know that much. And then this is a stamina meter, so it's just basically for how much you can dash around a screen. And I get it. That one is actually the most feasible for me. It's like I actually utilize the stamina meter a lot when I'm dashing past enemies and through bullets. And then you have like keys. These are typically keys that open stuff. But it's small on the screen. It's poorly designed. You want stuff on separate, like Design 101. You want stuff on separate portions of the screen so you know where to look quickly for stuff.
It's again, like if you're not going to follow RPG tropes with your RPG UI, because that's basically what they've done. They created an RPG UI. If you're not going to follow those tropes, then you don't get to use that UI.
Yep.
Again, that is magic, health, and whatever your third option is. Something vary from game to game. Like this one, it's stamina. If you're not going to have it be that way, then you don't get to use it. Then you need to create something like one of those dial kind. It's like, okay, the middle is a heart that goes up and down. The blue is your morality when it starts dripping or whatever. But like, you don't just get to do this nonsense.
Completely. So here's what.
I wanted to ask a very important question about sort of the whole system in place of this game, and it sort of makes and breaks. So it's a morality based system.
Yes.
Does it ever actually feel like it means something? Has there ever been a moment in the game where you're like, boy, I wish I would have just gone ruthless this path, or I wish I would have gone merciful this path? Or has there ever been a moment where it just feels like it wants you to make a straight line decision? Or does it all just feel like it's just like, whatever, you can do whatever you want, it's just how you feel? It's about your feelings.
It's mostly about your feelings, but there are times where I think, crap, I should have gone the other way, because the levels
but is that because it changes what the future of the game is, or like the difficulty of the next stage?
No,
or is it just because you feel bad?
No, it's not even that. I put in all the work to get through this dungeon with merciful, and then I take I take out the boss in ruthless, and it's ruined my entire dungeon run. And that's what pisses me off. It's like, because there's a dungeon that I took on, one of the very first few missions, where I think it was the dude looking for his wife, where I'm like, I get to this dungeon, I did merciful on everyone, and I couldn't figure out how to defeat his wife, because first of all, the tutorials are really bad in this game. It amounts to like little video clips that might pop up when you come up to like these little tomes, but they're not clear. Like, you want a tutorial to be you fully engaging with the attacks, not watching a video clip and then anyway. So I didn't know how to defeat her with merciful because none of my hits were landing. So I'm like, I'd keep losing. So I'm like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna switch to ruthless on this one, because the game wants me to kill her, because I cannot beat her the other way. Switch to ruthless, defeated her. I'm like, all right, cool, this is good. Go outside, talk to the guy, and he asks the question, what happened with my wife? And like, you get a couple options. One is I had to put her down, bro, or something. I don't know what it was, or she. And the other option was she attacked me. So I did, well, she attacked me, and he still got pissed off, and he's like, I can't believe, and runs off. I'm like, well, the hell, I feel like my whole thing got wasted. My whole journey into this dungeon got wasted because it's not clear of how you should approach these types of situations.
Have you gone and looked to see how you're supposed to defeat the wife yet in Merciful?
No, because the second. So again,
I'm assuming there's not a whole lot of stuff on YouTube for this game right now.
There's not. No. There's not. You find out in subsequent dungeons that you can actually reflect attacks back to people, but you don't know that until later on, until you've done like 2 or 3 of these little side dungeons, that you can actually reflect attacks, or you can block people, and if you block them, there's like a little bit of a stun. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
They clearly have leaned into the Hindsight 2020 thing a little too hard. So here's what I'm going to say about the game in hindsight, in completion. Thankfully, it's only 4 to 5 to 6 hours long, because you get through it and you're like, okay, that was enough for me. For a lot of folks, it's like, that was it. I'm done with it. I didn't like it, or I did like it, or whatever, but that's enough. I will say that the hook of having so many choices and so many things kind of adjusting and adapting along the way is kind of cool. And you don't see games get that ambitious to really do that. For a 4-hour game or whatever, there's 10 endings, 4 of which are like completely different, and it's all based on how you approach stuff. So that's excuse me, that's actually really cool and really ambitious. And I gotta applaud them for that, because that actually got me, even though I did not like the actual gameplay, the actual battle systems. I didn't like the locomotion. I hated the fonts and the text on the game, because we are really in an era of bad fonts, and I don't know why.
But this is so bad, because like, if you're talking to an NPC, the text is essentially as small as the NPC, but the NPC is always like so far to the back of the, like, let me point. If like the NPC is way over here, which means the text box is like that big. And bro, it doesn't look good on a Switch screen. at all. It's horrible on screen, but it's not even good on like TVs and monitors. And you legitimately have to like lean in close to the TV to see it. And then when you're actually having like when it's your turn to make a selection for like a response, you'll get giant boxes here of responses. I'm like, well, wait a minute. The question was like this tiny little thing back here. The responses are huge here, but the font is actually like the actual font choice is better for the one back here because they go with a different font on your selections here. That's like, it's not bold. It kind of fades into the background, and those are two of the font and text issues. It goes throughout the entire game that the UI and text and font is all over the place, and it makes it difficult for someone like me who has to switch to these glasses and just ordered a new set to see stuff, and it's not accessible friendly at all, and it's very kind of up and down in their designs. Again, it feels kit bashed, which I hate saying it because it does feel like. So here, let me explain it this way. I'm working on a PowerPoint for work right now, and that I'm a presentation to a big corporation that we're actually working on. All right, so I'm not going to tell you what I'm working on, but
it's that Chrono trigger.
It's the Chrono trigger. You got it. You got it. So the way I'm creating this presentation is taking a PowerPoint, a blank PowerPoint. I copied a bunch of pages of this blank PowerPoint. I have my header at the top and I have my footer at the bottom, and I'm copying, pasting. Like I'm doing snapshots of different things that I want to show off in here as sort of like placeholders. Like, okay, the image of that, I don't know, that thingamajig is just a placeholder, but it's integral to the story, and I'll kind of figure out my story. You know, I'll kind of tune up the story later on. It's just a visual thumbnail set for an index. It's like an index spread across a bunch of pages as sort of a template so that I can get back into it and actually finish it and add the real content later on. This game feels like a PowerPoint template of bullet point ideas that's like, okay, we're going to have a morality system. Cool. All right. We're going to have graphics. All right, cool. We're going to have 2 ways to do battle. All right, cool. Ship it. Instead of saying, what is it actually, how does it actually all work together? And I mean, it doesn't work together. Again, cool ideas. I could get past the visual design if the character motion was good. It's not. The camera's bad. The character motion is bad. There's like zero shadows in these areas, so it looks like characters are kind of all over the place.
Yeah, you're right. I'm looking at this screenshot now, and I'm like, wait a minute. He's right.
You can't tell. You can't tell what's going on in this screenshot.
No.
Like, it's like, look at this.
Nothing has a shadow. The lava looks like shit.
The fire looks
that's
like
bad fire. That's a good font. That's a good. That's the Assure. That's just Assure's Wrath. I mean,
I actually wish the font was this nice in the game because this font is nowhere in the game.
Well, congratulations to the 3 winners.
Yeah, congrats to the 3 winners. The boss battles have equally poor. It's essentially, see, this is the boss info. What is it? It's a blue line and a red line. There's no design thought to this.
Wait, what are theirs? Do they have a morality?
They do, and that's what I said. You can either if you choose the morality weapon or if you choose the
so it's
the ruthless weapon. Yeah.
So they have different health bars for different weapons. Is that basically what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can
makes a little more sense, but also that's incredibly stupid.
It is, and you can.
Because can you change the weapon on the fly? I thought you said you had to pick the weapon before you go in.
You pick the weapon before you go in, and here's the crazy part. You pick the weapon before you go in, and it's like this process where you hit the button, and it's like, would you like this weapon? And you go over to that weapon, and then he goes to this like animation of grabbing this weapon and holding it, and it says confirm, and then you confirm, or you go to the other one. I think you can change weapons mid-battle. But then the minute you do, you have to, every time you change a weapon, it goes through that process of,
because it would make no sense to have both health bars if you're choosing a weapon before you.
Let me take it back. Yes, both health bars are there. It's coming back to me now because this is how I defeated some enemies. You switch the you tap like the D-pad or whatever they are in the Switch, and you do switch weapons. But again, the minute you go to kill if you switch from the merciful to the ruthless, so you can knock a bit of their life back, it changes the battle completely. So everything you were building up for in an entire dungeon gets undone if you hit the wrong button to select a weapon, and it's frustrating.
This sounds like this would have made me incredibly mad, and I'm glad I said no.
So, again, there's plenty of good ideas in this game, but it's very unfinished, and it really needs the developers did a good job, did their job of coming up with this idea, but now it's like they needed somebody to come in and say, you need this to look better, you need this to look better, this needs to work with this. You need this action, the platforming action to be better, because it's meant to be an action RPG. And again, you can't. So it's like they're missing.
Now that you yourselves have the aforementioned hindsight.
Look, the idea is there. It needs a whole overhaul now, visually and action wise, to make it worthwhile. But it's. It's a bummer because I was looking forward to this game. I'm like, it's kind of I want to play this.
Hasn't it been like 2 or 3 years? Like this game has been
it has visually nothing looks like it's changed in that time. Like looking back at older videos and older previews and stuff, because I was curious as I was writing, putting the review together, and I'll post a review here in the next couple of days as I kind of finish formulating my thoughts. Everything that I'm seeing with today's release, is the same stuff they picked up on at least 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, the game had already been being worked on for a year plus. So it's nothing looks like it's changed in those 2 years. And it's disappointing because it feels like it got to a point and then they just stopped and said, just release it. We'll fix it in post or whatever. We'll tighten up the graphics in level 3. Again, there's an idea here. There's a really cool idea. This is more of a critique of the game than just a review. There's a cool idea here, but it did not land. It's like they went for the triple Lutz Sao Cow and then they landed on their butt. A valiant effort, but landed on your butt.
Yeah, you clearly can do it, but you just did it this time.
Exactly. Yep. I think this is where they really need to get get some more help on this game, because I don't know how big their staff is. Again, they keep talking about these 4 folks. I'm assuming it's probably a little bit bigger than that too, but they almost need somebody from outside to come in and say, you guys have to overhaul this. But a game needs an overhaul. But anyways, there you go. Hindsight 2020. It's an idea. I never want to say. And here's what. Here's something you never want to see is this type of a ratio on an indie game. On an indie game on a PlayStation official account.
Is that 30? It's 30. It's less than 35,000 views on the official PlayStation account.
Yes. Yep. And it's been out. It's been almost a week that this video's been out. So,
bad marketing. We were their marketing arm.
We were. Again, I feel bad.
You never want to shit on somebody's job.
No,
but also you just can't say it's fine. You feel bad about it, but it's feel bad about it. But that's what the point of all of it is. Yeah. We come across. We're not at SideQuesting. We just shoot from the hip every time.
We really do.
We don't. We don't. We're the indie source basically at this point. Everyone likes to talk to us about their stuff at this point, and if you can't figure out what the people want in the indie scene, at this point, you've made a game that has a good idea but didn't land. Take that as a win. You have a game that people are praising, saying this has the makings of something great. Take that energy, and if you have the ability to make another game, some studios won't have that luck. Some studios will just kind of launch game and it won't do particularly well, and that'll be it. But like,
Yep.
if you have the ability to make another game, realize that you're there. Like, you clearly have the skill sets and the talents to make something creative, and like, you just need to get somebody in there to make it cohesive. And like, take some solace in the fact that you made a game that is being praised for its creative idea, even if the game itself isn't that great. Because you still did a lot more than what a lot of other games, fucking Abandoned is still doing nothing. They've been teasing it for
there are games out there that focus hardcore on their visual aesthetics, but the actual game is junk. Like, we've seen that a million times where the game looks really cool in still images and in like a quick trailer, but then you play it and it's horrible. And we've reviewed games on SideQuest. I've reviewed games on SideQuesting where I'm like, it looks cool. This game is trash. It's a heap and trash fire. I think I reviewed one last year for the Switch that was the same way. At this game, at least Hindsight 2020. First of all, don't use this. Don't change the title. Don't that's
a bad title. I'm sorry. The other part of it, the subtitle of it,
it's better.
I understand what you need to figure out a better way of doing the sort of more like thinking back on it. Like, I understand that you want to make people think back on their choices and maybe play through it again, because it is a short game, so it's designed to make you want to go back through and do it. But like, there's a better way of naming it than Hindsight 2020. Hindsight 2020 sounds like it would be like the subtitle of some sort of like a Remedy like Control sequel or something.
Hindsight, like Hindsight 2020 is hindsight's a very modern word. And so this game isn't modern. Like the setting's not modern. The setting is sort of this fantasy base. Like, Hindsight 2020, don't play this game. Like that's kind of what it gets you. But, I mean, again, cool idea, cool creative, cool creative backbone, but
incredibly nice people.
Nice people. But we don't review on people. We review on the quality of the product. Yeah. And again, I'm one last time, like you said, JJ. Cool idea, but it just did not lend to execution. And I'm not shitting on it, because I'm like critiquing this thing. I could shit on games, and I've done it again. I've done it in the past, but this is because this has that creative idea, and because they took the smart tack of only going 4 to 5 hours at most. I think that that prevented me. I mean, we don't score games here, but prevented me from giving it an absolutely horrendous score, because they at least had that creative side built into it. But this needed time to bake, and they needed to bring in more folks to kind of just. It seems like
the type of game that would have benefited greatly from early access.
Yeah.
Like that way it's like, it's not technically out yet, but like, you guys can play it. Tell us what you think has changed. That way people could have said like, hey, you need to do something about the font or something. This UI needs a enhancement or two or whatever. But
all right, JJ. You know what else needs an enhancement? Me with more coffee, because I'm getting work done over here. Speaking of that PowerPoint that I'm working on. Yeah. Awesome to have you on as usual, my friend.
Yeah. Can I just share something that I picked up today? It's we'll call this snack questing.
Snack questing. That's right, snack questing.
Zach brought it up in the Discord earlier, and I found I found Pokemon fucking Oreos.
Oh my gosh! Yes, Pokemon Oreos.
So they just released. Yes, I crossed the Nabisco picket line. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. But I saw Pokemon Oreo. I love that it has it's a foil question mark Oreos on the side.
Oh, that's cool.
Like with like in the Pokemon font. It's very good. I haven't opened these yet. It says discover all 16 Pokemon. Which ones will you get? So let's just see.
Let's see which Pokemon you got.
I'm just gonna grab 3 because I am diabetic and it's a very bad idea to eat more than 3. Okay. Oh wow, these are actually cool. Okay, let's see if we can make it out too well. You've got on this one. Come on.
I'm gonna switch it. There you go.
Yeah. Let's see. That's Sandshrew.
Oh, I see Sandshrew. Yep.
Yeah, Sandshrew. Who else we got here? Oh, we got an a personal favorite. Let's see if we can make it out on that one. You got Grookey.
Yeah, I see the Grookey there.
And last but not least on this one, I got a beautiful. Let's see if we get. Oh, this one doesn't. It's a Dratini. Let's see if I can get some light. See if I can get some light on these fucking things. Yeah,
I see
there
it
we
now.
go.
There you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
Dratini. Yeah, Dratini. So
That's cool.
I mean, they're just normal ass Oreos, but that's why it's a light. We don't need to. What the? Oh, roll it. Now I'm just looking at him. Roll it. Now I'm committed to the bit here.
So are you gonna?
There's my boy. There's Bulbasaur. Hell yeah.
Bulbasaur. So you're gonna buy another one and not open it, correct? Like
Sure,
how
why
I
not?
did. Like how I did with my Game of Thrones. I think I have a package of Game of Thrones Oreos from like 4 years ago. That's just
the packaging's really cool on it. It actually might be like you can't see it from here, but over on my shelf of shit over here, I have an unopened bottle of Roddy Piper Chew bubblegum soda. I got a bottle of Pepsi Blue.
Oh, nice.
And I have a can of Ecto Cooler over there. So,
cool.
I do like that sort of bullshit.
Excellent.
And I think a wrong hand. And you can see a can of Liquid Death over here
somewhere.
Which is just a funny branding for water. It's just water, but they call it liquid. They call it Liquid Death, and its catchphrase is "Murder your thirst." And I'm like, I can't say no to that. So.
That's actually it's a good cause because it's true.
Yeah.
Well, JJ, where can we find you, man?
You can find me at _double_J on Twitter. Disney Compendium, which we're back, baby. Which one's coming out? Which one did I just finish editing? I just finished editing. Big Hero 6 just came out, so I forget now at this point. I know we're gonna record. Zootopia. I just finished editing Zootopia.
Oh, cool. Great film. Great film.
Yeah, but also I'm not necessarily. We started as we were talking about the movie, and you'll hear it as we talk about it in the episode. When we start talking about it, we start becoming sort of mortified by the movie in a lot of ways because it eventually gets to a point of the cop bunny standing at a press conference explaining how vicious and feral these people of their community are, and then minutes later gets spooked by the fox and reaches for her holster, and you're just like, this is rough. This is really there's a lot of eugenics going on in this movie. Holy crap. But you can actually hear it in the episode of us just increasingly becoming more mortified with the movie as we start breaking it down. It's crazy, but that's fun. Also, I missed PAX Week because it was PAX Week, but the news thing on SideQuesting where I talk about, I called it the pull box, where we're just going to talk about it's 3 upcoming comics, 3 comics that came out the previous week that I review, and then just some old.
Love it. Yeah, that's awesome.
I just figured I want to get that comic book thing under my belt because that is definitely I feel like that's open a door somewhere different with comic book stuff. So.
For sure. And I picked up that Batman that you had there listed on there. I didn't know Darkhawk was back. I was a huge Darkhawk fan. I have a bunch of the first run of Darkhawk. I have the original. I'm like, Darkhawk's my favorite.
Oh, so you got I recommend. I think I even did the review for it. That Darkhawk's really good. It's really kind of somber, all things considered, but it's very good. And with the Batman? Which Batman was it? Was it Fear State?
I forget. I'll have to look back. I can't remember. Whatever. It's a Batman.
Batman's been really good lately. So yeah. Anyways, it was just the two of us. We still talked for an hour and 42 minutes.
Somehow, yep. If it was Taylor and I, would have been 3 hours 40 minutes. So that's good.
Yeah, we actually talked about and reviewed video games.
Yeah, so we did for sure. Find me at Dali Domovsky, and you can find us at SideQuesting, SideQuesting.com, SideQuesting TV on Twitch, and SideQuesting on YouTube. And we'll see you on the next episode of The Side Quest. Bye, everybody. Toodles. Have fun. Eat them Oreos.